So the first thing is diagnosis of problems as Africans. If somebody finds himself in that, because I want to tell you, I have known of people who have been born homosexuals. I have known them. I have known of people who have been recruited into homosexuality, lowered because of school fees, because of all sorts of things, and they are there.
You mentioned that the laws that were already in place actually dealt with homosexuality. But one of the things that the bill deals with is recruitment and promotion, which you're talking about right now. So, if it's not a good bill, how come it addresses some of the issues that right now you're saying you have seen happening and therefore should actually be regulated?
Thank you very much. That's a great question. I mean, that is the more reason that we needed to take more time to dissect or to exercise surgery on this bill and not pass it in a rush. Because in the end, you'll find that the majority who wrote their report have actually torn the bill, they have reduced the bill into a whole insignificant lot. And for those who are arguing now, they have reduced the whole bill that has many, many clauses into just recruitment, funding, promotion, and I think same-sex marriage in church. If those guys come to the fall and say, let us get married. And probably one of the jokes that I read the other day was that in the middle of a same-sex marriage, a gay marriage in church, when the judge, when the pastor said that I now want to declare you, since you have been married, and there was a pause, because usually the natural thing is I want to declare you man and wife. There was a great pause, and one of the audience, like these beautiful people here, said, I declare you man united. But so how do we exercise leadership and provide leadership here? I think we do it through tolerance and one of the principles about legislation or legislative practice is that you must never pass a law in vain. You must not. I have had arguments that we can duplicate laws. We can have the same law appear in the penal code. We have it in this other one and the other one. And there's all that duplicity. But in the end, we must pass a law that can be enforced. And I think this is one of the most difficult ones. Are you saying that it's going to be impossible to enforce this law? There are many sections of it which are not possible from an enforcement point of view. Very many of them. And again, I want to tell you, listeners, Parliament actually now is in a state of confusion until somebody gets to the Hansard and read exactly what the members of Parliament passed. Because the whole thing was done with the motions in chorus. So we have to go back and see whether even the committee report, the committee recommendations were adopted. Otherwise, what I only saw on a clip of the TV was that the ayes have it. So this is already one issue. We do not know what was amended and what was not amended. And I think that in real life, there are certain offenses that require you to flash somebody a yellow card. But this bill seems to flash somebody a straight red card without any room for reform. So my contention is that the gays have a problem and they need to be helped. But we cannot help them by sending them to Luzira. According to the gays, and I wish they were here to speak for themselves, they do not have a problem. Many of us take departures. I mean, this is a three-pronged kind of challenge. Those who believe it's a vice, those who believe it's a right, and then those who believe that it's a challenge, it's a social problem. Because if you asked me, same-sex marriage or gayism, all these things are not legal problems. These are social problems. That's why you're having situations of some of our children being recruited, because of what I was already saying before. And there are many cases, if the media is what we can go by as a point of authority, that people get recruited for money, for school fees, for all sorts of things as poor African children who are lured to do that kind of thing against their will. And in the end, what comes out clearly is that these are victims themselves. I want to liken this directly to the challenge that we had with the children of northern Uganda, my neighbors on the other side, where these children were recruited against their will, and some of them were being promised a better lifestyle, name it. So, in the wisdom of this government and in the wisdom of Parliament, we did not say that even if a child who has been recruited, who is now a victim himself, we did not say that if that child went to a village, from his own village, and killed the whole village, we should have him or her sent to Luzira or sentenced to death. In the contrary, we decided to pass the Amnesty Act to say, you were also just a victim, and we want to reintegrate you back into society. So, in the end, this bill that many people are sometimes excited about does one thing. It brings one verdict to people who are found exercising homosexuality. And the law is blind. It doesn't discriminate whether you were lured. It doesn't discriminate whether it was consensual. It doesn't discriminate many things. But for as long as you are already found indulging yourself in an act that is prohibited under Article 31, 2A, then you are a criminal. And in that case, I want to tell you that for those who are very excited, reading about other people's children, teenagers and youth, who have been brought to the fold in the homosexuality campaign, tomorrow you'll realize that this is your own child who has also just been a poor victim. And then you are saying, instead of your child being given to you from Budo, because he has been found in that act, for you are saying, let this child be sent straight to Luzira. Now, this way I take a very strong departure to all those who are trying to advocate for a verdict that takes somebody to a point of no return. If you take them to Luzira, they're going to continue doing the thing in Luzira. Or if you sentence them to death, you have only killed a human being, but you've not killed a vice. And this is my take. So I think as Africans, we must know how to diagnose problems, and we must know how to deal with it, but not this mentality of saying, this hand is sick, cut it off. I think that is African, and I think that is not revolutionary.
Okay, Honorable Tada, thank you very much.